It's quite difficult to remember what happened before the international break, as it seems like club football was a long time ago. However, we had a very good weekend with 3 scores correct, and those 3 scores were Leicester beating Stoke 2-0, Leeds beating Bristol City 2-1, and Norwich and Coventry sharing the points in a 1-1 draw. I was also very happy as Blues played on the Friday night and got a 3-1 victory over West Brom. However, a lot has happened for Blues since then, as John Eustace has been sacked and Wayne Rooney is now our manager. I have made a video on that separate to this one, so make sure to check that out on my channel. But this is about the Championship predictions. It's going to be an interesting week. I think it could be quite hard to predict with a lot of tight looking games and, new things happening. A little break always causes a bit of chaos. So without further ado, let's get into my predictions. We start off with Rotherham against Ipswich. Ipswich are absolutely flying, second in the league. They're still on a great unbeaten run and they've only lost 1 this season, so I think Ipswich are going to get all the points here, as Rotherham not great form in that relegation zone, struggling to find wins, struggling to create many chances as well. So I'm going to have to go Ipswich to carry on that great run with a 2-0 win. Preston take on Millwall next, and Preston were flying very high, unbeaten, but last time they lost 3 games in a week. Not great from them, but they were against West Brom, Leicester and Ipswich, so tough fixtures for them. Let's see if they can get back on track here against a Millwall side that have just announced that they've sacked Gary Rowett only a couple of days ago. So it's going to be interesting to see how Millwall set up. The general consensus is that when a manager is sacked, there's a little bit of a bounce, the team is unpredictable to play against, so they get a result. But I've got a slight feeling here that Preston will get a narrow win, 1-0. Blackburn take on Cardiff next. And if there's one thing that those 2 teams make me think, it's that there's going to be some goals in this one. There tends to be quite a few goals in Blackburn games especially. Very, very high scoring for both sides. So I've got to go here for quite a few goals. I'm thinking at least 4, but I am going to go down the middle. I hate sitting on the fence so much, but Cardiff have had a decent start to the season. Blackburn unpredictable, so I'll go 2-2. Bristol City against Coventry means these are the 2 longest serving managers in the Championship, Mark Robins and Nigel Pearson. Now, I've got a feeling that this could be quite a tight game. I am going to go down the middle again. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. And it's just because Coventry draw a lot of games. Bristol City seem to go through patches where they're hard to beat, but then they concede a few goals. So I have got a feeling this one will be another draw for Coventry, 1-1. I'm doing a lot of sitting on the fence here, and I'm going to continue when Huddersfield meet QPR. Now, these 2 sides have had very uninspiring starts to the season, and to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they were both in the bottom 3 by the end of it. I think it will be between these 2, Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday, for those bottom 3 spots. But I just don't see either of them really pushing on. And that's the reason I am going to go for a draw, but it's going to be a very boring 0-0. Hull against Southampton should be a very interesting one. Hull only lost 2 games all season, seem very hard to beat, and they've got some brilliant attacking players. They're a very free-flowing side, and they're up against Southampton, who had a very dodgy spell. They seem to ship quite a few goals, but they do have some good attacking threats as well, and they have got back on track with a few wins and games undefeated. For that reason, I'm going to sit on the fence again, but I promise I'm not going to do it for many more games. This one, I can see both sides getting a point, so 1-1. Middlesbrough host Blues, and in all honesty, I lied because I really want to go for a draw here, and I think it will be. However, with so many draws already predicted, I am going to have to not sit on the fence here. Middlesbrough in great form, absolutely obliterated Sunderland before the international break. 4-0, did not see that one coming. Blues won 2 in a row against West Brom and Huddersfield, both at home, scoring 7 in those 2 games, so very good football. Our front 4 was on fire. How do I feel about going into this game with Rooney? Well, it's Carrick against Rooney, so 2 ex-Man United teammates that know each other very well. And I'm going to back the boys. I think there could be some teething issues, but I'm very excited to see how we get on. And I've got to back us. I've got to do it. So Blues to win 2-1. Norwich against Leeds is an interesting affair, as Norwich have had very patchy spells this season. They did start to go through a poor patch. They got a draw last time out against Coventry, but they looked so good at the start of the season, and those performances haven't really kept up. But they do have some very good players, looking at mainly Gabriel Sara and Jonathan Rowe, both doing very good jobs in the team. Leeds have arguably top 2, I don't think it's arguable actually, top 2 attacks in the league. They're starting to put it together. They're also keeping a lot of clean sheets, and I do think they are gunning for a top 2 spot. I think it's between them and Ipswich. I think Leicester win the league, and I think Leeds might actually get there, because I can see Ipswich falling off a little bit. I still think they'll get playoffs after such a great start, but I'm going to go here for Leeds to take all 3 points, 2-1. Stoke against Sunderland. Alex Neil in the job at Stoke, used to be at Sunderland in League One, and Stoke are in awful form. Sunderland were in great form, lost 4-0 to Middlesbrough, but I am going to back Sunderland. They've got some great players, a very young squad. Jack Clark, top goal scorer in the Championship at the moment. I can see him scoring again. And Sunderland winning 2-0. 2 informed sides, Swansea against Leicester. And Swansea were winless in their first 7, but they are unbeaten in 5 with 4 wins in a row now. So they are starting to get on track under Mike Duff. The results are coming, but you do kind of question some of the games they have won haven't been against the strongest of oppositions. However, they're winning the games, and that's the most important thing. I just think that this may be a step too far, because Leicester are, for me, the best team in the league, and their position in the table and how they're dominating teams backs it up. 30 points from 11 games, so only 1 loss, winning the other 10. 6 wins in a row. They are just brilliant, and they're already 10 points clear of third, so they're really giving themselves a good gap away, so they're getting automatic promotion. It is a brilliant start from Leicester. Maresca doing a great job, so I'm going to go Leicester to win it 3-1. Watford against Sheffield Wednesday, 2 teams in desperate need of a win. Watford, they've only won 1 in their last 10 games. It was unfortunately against Blues, but we always lose against Watford. They are one of the sides we just can't get the better of. Watford haven't won in 5 either, so they are really struggling to get those winning goals at the moment. A couple of draws, but this isn't the Watford we're used to seeing, and I had them quite high in my pre-season predictions, and at the moment they're not looking anywhere near that. However, we've seen how quickly things can change with Middlesbrough and Swansea coming into great form. I'm sure it will happen for Watford at some point, but just not at the moment. Sheffield Wednesday haven't won yet, only side not to win a game. They've got 3 draws out of their 11 games, losing the other 8. So they're really struggling. They're probably down already by the looks of it, unless new manager Danny Roll can do a masterpiece. But I don't see it happening. So I've got Watford to win this 1-0. And finally, West Brom against Plymouth. West Brom were unbeaten in 5 with 3 draws and 2 wins before losing 3-1 against Blues. That was the 4th loss in a row against Blues, and Blues never used to beat them. We'd gone 20-something years without beating them, so they're struggling against us at the moment. But they are having a decent start to the league considering the position they find themselves in with owners. Plymouth, they looked alright at the start of the season. They're much better at home than away, but they just look like they ship too many goals at the moment, and that's a worry for me. I do think that they are going to struggle to pick up many points away, so I am going to go for the Baggies to win 2-1. So those are my predictions for these championship fixtures. Let me know down in the comments what your predictions are. Make sure to like and subscribe, and hopefully Blues can get a great first game under Rooney and get that win. Up the Blues.